I thought I was visiting my alien girlfriend. Her mother had other plans. The first time I stepped onto the emerald green soil of Avelora, I felt like I was trespassing into a dream. The air shimmered faintly, as if holding its breath, and strange bird-like creatures with translucent wings darted above me. This was not Earth, this was her world. Lyra's world. Lyra, my alien girlfriend, had invited me to meet her family after months of secret rendezvous on neutral stations and starports. She had described her home as a lush, ocean-wrapped paradise, but she had neglected one important detail: her mother. "Don't be nervous," Lyra whispered as she held my hand, leading me toward the crystalline palace that sat atop a rise. "My mother can be protective. But once she sees who you are, she'll understand." Her words reassured me little. For days, I had rehearsed greetings in Aveloran tongue, imagined respectful bows, and tried to prepare for whatever cultural traps I might stumble into. But nothing prepared me for the woman who greeted us at the towering entrance. She was tall, taller than most humans, her presence radiating authority. Silver hair, braided with strands of living light, framed a face both regal and stern. Her golden eyes swept over me with the weight of a queen appraising an unworthy suitor. "So," she said, voice echoing through the entry hall, "this is the human." Her words struck like a blade. Lyra squeezed my hand, trying to soften the blow. I bowed as low as I could without falling. "It's an honor to meet you, Lady Celera." Her lips curved, not into a smile but into something sharper. "We shall see." Dinner that evening was a test disguised as a feast. The table stretched endlessly, covered in glowing fruits, steaming meats that pulsed faintly with heat, and crystal chalices filled with shimmering liquid. Lyra sat at my side, but her mother across from me. Every movement she made calculated. "Tell me, human," Celera began, slicing into a luminous fish with a blade that looked more ceremonial than culinary. "What do you offer my daughter?" Froze. The question was blunt, almost hostile. I fumbled for words. "Respect. Loyalty. A love that defies worlds." Her eyes narrowed. "Pretty words. But love does not sustain life. Love does not defend against the void. What strength do you have?" I clenched my fists under the table, remembering Lyra's advice. "Honesty above all. I don't have the strength of an Aveloran, but I will fight for her. With everything I am." For a moment silence reigned. Then Celera chuckled, a low, dangerous sound. "Fight for her. Perhaps you will prove that claim." Later that night I learned what she meant. Lyra had excused herself to fetch something from her chambers, leaving me alone in the courtyard. The sky stretched endlessly, stars swirling in patterns unseen on Earth. But before I could enjoy the view, Celera appeared, cloaked in shadows. "Walk with me," she commanded. I obeyed, following her into a garden of bioluminescent flowers that pulsed gently like beating hearts. The air carried a scent that was both sweet and sharp, unsettling in its beauty. "You think yourself worthy," she said, not looking at me. "But worth is not proven with vows. It is tested." Before I could respond, she raised her hand. From the shadows emerged a beast, four-legged, scaled, eyes burning like embers. It snarled, baring teeth longer than my arm. I staggered back. "What is this?" "A test," Celera replied coldly. "Defeat it, or prove yourself a coward." The creature lunged. I barely rolled aside in time, the ground shattering where its claws struck. My heart pounded. I had no weapons, no training for this. All I had was instinct. I grabbed a shard of broken crystal from the ground, holding it like a dagger. The beast roared, charging again. I sidestepped, slashing wildly. The shard scraped its hide, drawing a hiss of pain. It wasn't much, but it was something. We circled. My lungs burned, my muscles screamed, but I refused to falter. Every time it lunged, I moved, struck, dodged. Cuts opened along my arms, but adrenaline drowned the pain. Finally, as it pounced one last time, I dove beneath its bulk, driving the shard upward into its softer belly. The creature howled, thrashing, before collapsing in a shuddering heap. Breathless, trembling, I staggered to my feet. Lyra stood nearby, watching silently. "Why?" I demanded hoarsely. "Why would you?" She raised a hand, silencing me. "You fought. Not with strength, but with will. You bled for her, even knowing you might die. That is what I wished to see." Her voice softened, almost imperceptibly. "Perhaps. You are not entirely unworthy." Lyra found me minutes later, bloodied and exhausted. Her horrified gasp filled the courtyard as she rushed to my side. "What happened?" I looked at Lyra, who gave me the faintest nod. "Your mother," I whispered, "just wanted to talk." Lyra frowned, clearly unconvinced, but Lyra's gaze held hers in a silent command. The next morning, as I prepared to leave, Lyra approached me privately. For the first time, there was no sharpness in her eyes, only a quiet, assessing calm. "You will return," she said, not as a question but as a certainty. "If Lyra wishes it," I replied. "She does," Lyra said. "And though I still doubt, I will allow it. Because last night you showed me something I had forgotten. That courage comes in many forms." For the briefest second she touched my shoulder, a gesture so human it startled me. Then she turned away, regal once more. Lyra joined me, slipping her hand into mine. Her smile, radiant and fierce, made every cut and bruise worth it. As our ship lifted into the dawn skies, I looked back at the palace, at the woman who had tested me in ways I never expected. I had thought I was only visiting my alien girlfriend, but her mother had other plans. Plans that, in the end, may have carved the path for something far greater than I ever imagined. The next morning, I stood at the palace gates, still stiff from the wounds of the trial. Lyra's fingers intertwined with mine, her touch soft, grounding me in a way no words could. The ship that would carry us back to the neutral starport was already humming, waiting. Lyra approached, her footsteps measured, her gaze no longer piercing but steady. The night's ordeal still hung between us, heavy and unspoken. For a long moment she said nothing, merely studied me as though carving my essence into memory. "You survived," she finally said. "But survival is not enough. You endured because you chose to fight, even when you knew you were overmatched. I respect." Her words, though simple, carried weight. It was not approval, not yet. But it was permission. And on Avelora, that was worth more than any blessing. I bowed, not out of obligation, but out of something closer to gratitude. "Thank you, Lady Lyra. I'll never stop proving myself worthy of her." Something flickered across her face. Was it the ghost of a smile, or just the morning light? She laid a hand on Lyra's shoulder, and in that gesture I saw the truth. She loved her daughter fiercely, desperately, enough to test the man who dared claim her heart. Lyra tugged me toward the ship, her eyes shimmering. As we lifted off, I glanced back one final time. Lyra stood tall against the rising sun, a figure both daunting and dignified, watching us vanish into the sky. I thought I had come to meet my alien girlfriend's family. Instead, her mother had shaped me into something more. Challenger. A survivor. Perhaps one day a son.